Olá pessoal, para a gravação deste vídeo eu vou estar lendo este livro aqui na Fonética Britânica, como já foi requerido por muitos. Lembre-se que você pode pausar durante a leitura do livro e repetir após mim, que é uma parte muito importante para aprender como falar o inglês na Fonética Britânica. Eu escolhi este livro porque tem um inglês bem fácil que dá para a maioria das pessoas que estão aprendendo inglês, iniciando compreender. Okay, so shall we start? The name and the title of this book is Does the Queen Wear Her Crown in Bed? And is from the Royal Collection Trust, which is the shop of Buckingham Palace. Welcome to Buckingham Palace, the London home of Her Majesty the Queen. Shall I show you around? While we're exploring the palace, see how many crowns you can find. Where is Buckingham Palace? Buckingham Palace is in the centre of London. This very important building is where the Queen lives and works during the week. You can tell if the Queen is in the palace by looking at the large flag flying above the roof. If the Queen is in the palace, the flag you see will be the royal standard. At the weekend, the Queen travels to Windsor Castle. The Union flag, often known as the Union Jack, is flown when the Queen is away. Right? And this is the Royal Standard flag that will be flown in Buckingham Palace when the Queen is there. I only saw it once in the 11 years I lived in England. Well, 5 of them in London. Look, the Royal Standard is flying above the palace. That means the Queen is home. And there is a crown on top of the flagpole too, right over there. Guarding the palace. Buckingham Palace is protected by guardsmen. There is a famous ceremony called changing of the guard. The captain of the guard hands over the key to the palace to the new guard. This happens when the new guard march through the palace gate. Then the old guard march back to their barracks. This guardsman from the Grenadier Guards is wearing a bearskin cap with a white feather and a bright red tunic with shiny brass buttons. This is an actual real uniform that they have. It's amazing. The guardsmen learn how to march, salute, and stand still during hours and hours of drill practice. And this is exactly how it looks. It's magnificent. And on that day, yes, the Queen is in Buckingham Palace. A royal office and a home. Buckingham Palace has been a home to 5 queens, 4 kings, 16 princes, and 12 princesses. The present queen is married to the Duke of Edinburgh, and the palace has been their home for more than 50 years. In the palace, the Queen carries out her important job of meeting the British Prime Minister and leaders of other countries. The Queen spends part of her morning reading letters. On her birthday, she receives thousands of birthday cards. How cool is that? English British people, they do like sending cards to the palace. This is a portrait of the Queen's grandfather, King George V, who lived in Buckingham Palace. Look, I can see a crown in the painting on the red cushion. And this, guys, for you is the actual interior of Buckingham Palace. I've been there. I was fortunate to go there as a birthday present for my best friend, and that was 2 years ago. It was such an amazing experience. I do recommend to everyone that has this opportunity to go. Inside the palace, there are 650 rooms in the palace, including lots of bedrooms and bathrooms. The state rooms are the best rooms in the palace. The Queen meets her most important guest in these rooms. They are full of amazing art gathered together by kings and queens. There are paintings, sculptures, vases, clocks, and sofas long enough for 10 people to sit. In this painting, the present Queen's great-great-grandmother, Queen Victoria, is surrounded by 5 of her 9 children. Amazing painting, right? Look at this enormous chandelier. It's made of hundreds of pieces of glass. This sofa is so comfy. It must be. A royal building. There are crowns all over the inside and outside of Buckingham Palace, on doors, lamps, ceilings, and on picture frames. There is a crown and the letters EIIR on the Queen's throne. The E stands for Elizabeth, and the R stands for Regina, which means Queen in Latin. The Roman numeral of II means second. This shows that the present Queen is the second Queen to be called Elizabeth. Whenever you see EIIR on the letterbox, it means that it was made during the present of Queen's reign. Awesome. The Queen's throne is the one with EIIR. The Queen doesn't sit on her throne all day. She carries out royal duties all over the country. I wonder what it's like to sit on. No one can sit there. That's P for Philip. Royal weddings. Many members of the royal family have been married in London. In 1947, the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh were married in Westminster Abbey. In 2011, guests from around the world were invited to a wedding reception at Buckingham Palace to celebrate the marriage of the Queen's grandson, Prince William, and Catherine Middleton. Look at that. For his wedding cake, Prince William asked for a chocolate biscuit cake, which was made from a secret royal family recipe. How cool is that? Prince William and Catherine Middleton are now called the Duke and the Duchess of Cambridge. Here they are walking into Buckingham Palace through the grand entrance. The wedding dress is so beautiful, gorgeous. What a moment. A new royal baby. Buckingham Palace has been home to many royal children. The Queen's own children grew up in the palace, and her 3 eldest children and her grandson, Prince William, were all christened in the music room. Prince George of Cambridge was born on the 22nd July 2013, and on 23rd October 2013 he was christened in the Chapel Royal at St. James's Palace by the Archbishop of Canterbury. Prince George was christened with water from the river Jordan, just like his father, Prince William. Look at them, so cute. The Palace Garden. The Queen has a helicopter to help her travel around the country. Sometimes it lands on the Palace Garden lawn. The garden at Buckingham Palace is used every year for summer garden parties to which the Queen invites 24,000 people. But it has also been used for concerts, giant picnics, and even a football match. On 7th October 2013, Prince William joined Team Civil Service FC against the rivals Polytechnic FC in a match to celebrate 150 years of the Football Association. Yeah, here he is. Yeah, I remember that. They broadcasted it. Corgis are really good at football, but not as good as me. This is the Queen's dogs, one of them. Royal animals. The Queen's favourite dogs are corgis. The Queen's corgis are called Lynette, Monty, Willow, and Holly, and the Dorgies, which are a mix of a corgi and a dachshund, are called Cider, Candy, and Vulcan. The Queen's dogs travel with her in cars, on trains, and on airplanes, unless she is traveling abroad. Here the Queen is riding her horse, Tinkerbell. Her daughter Princess Anne is riding Peter Pan, and her granddaughter Zara Phillips is riding Tiger Lily. Fetch, good boy. When the Queen is very busy, footmen take the dogs for their walks. And this is the garden of Buckingham Palace. Upstairs, downstairs. Housekeepers, chefs, florists, clockmakers, postmen, chauffeurs, gardeners, and dressmakers all work at Buckingham Palace. There are royal kitchens where food is made, royal cellars where wine is stored, a flower room where flowers are arranged, and a laundry where clothes and tablecloths are cleaned and ironed. Here is a footman polishing some of the Queen's silver. On another day, he might serve at a banquet. The royal chefs are always very busy making food for the Queen's staff and guests. Lovely. Oh, those chocolates look yummy. Breakfast to banquets. Royal chefs prepare food for breakfast, lunches, dinners, and state banquets. A state banquet is the busiest time for the royal kitchen. The chefs prepare 4 courses of food for up to 166 guests. It takes 2 days to lay the table for the state banquet. More than 2,000 pieces of cutlery are used during the meal. This looks like a real crown on a cushion. It's not. It is a cake baked by the royal chefs as a prize for children. How cool is that? It really looks real. This is the biggest table I've ever seen. I bet it takes ages to wash up afterwards. A state banquet celebrates the visit of a leader from another country. Meeting the Queen. If you meet the Queen, you begin by calling her Your Majesty, and then use ma'am for the rest of the conversation. Men and boys bow their heads, and women and girls make a small curtsy. One of the Queen's most important jobs in Buckingham Palace is to give medals and honours to adults and children who've done something very special. Ma'am is spoken to rhyme with jam. I'm practicing my curtsy. Children are given badges and medals too. Travelling in style. Although the Queen doesn't have a passport, she has travelled all over the world in horse-drawn carriages, cars, trains, helicopters, and airplanes. Travelling by carriage is the best way for the Queen to be seen by the crowds. The royal train has bedrooms, bathrooms, and a kitchen so that the Queen and her family can travel overnight. The Irish state coach is often used by the Queen to travel to the state opening of Parliament. It was built in Ireland over 200 years ago. Splendid. The gold state coach is covered in gold and has a crown on its roof. Look at all that gold. Wow, it's so glittery. Wearing a crown. The Queen wears a crown on very important occasions. She wears the imperial state crown during the state opening of Parliament, which happens every year. The imperial state crown has 2,868 diamonds, 273 pearls, 17 sapphires, 11 emeralds, and 5 rubies. All of the Queen's crowns are kept safe in the Tower of London. Gorgeous. On the day of her coronation in 1953, the Queen waves from the balcony of Buckingham Palace while wearing the imperial state crown. We're in the House of Lords of the state opening of Parliament, and no, the Queen doesn't wear a crown in bed. The boys holding the Queen's clock look my age. Yes. This is Philip. I hope you had a wonderful time visiting the palace. How many crowns did you find? Oh my gosh, I didn't count. Right, muito obrigada. Espero que vocês curtiram. Eu vou estar fazendo este vídeo também em inglês, depois com o começo só em inglês. Me dizem que mais que vocês gostariam que eu lesse, algum livro favorito de vocês. Eu, com muita alegria, faria a leitura de um outro livro que vocês gostem. Este é meu favorito, livro de crianças, mas eu estou aberta a sugestões. Muito obrigada, até a próxima.